As you may have heard, next week on September 12th, the latest installment in the God's Not Dead movie series comes out. This one is entitled God's Not Dead, In God We Trust. Previous movies in the series were the original God's Not Dead from 2014, God's Not Dead 2 in 2016, God's Not Dead, A Light in the Darkness in 2018, and God's Not Dead, We the People in 2021. Despite being widely panned by critics, all of the previous movies were popular with the faith-based community, most especially the original God's Not Dead from 2014, which was a commercial success, grossing $62 million on a $2 million budget. We now have the fifth installment in the series, God's Not Dead, In God We Trust. According to the movie website, the plot is as follows. In a time of profound political, civil, and spiritual turmoil, Reverend David Hill grapples with a crucial question. Does God still have a place in politics? Following the unexpected death of a favored congressional incumbent, David feels compelled to enter the race, challenging the increasing efforts to remove religious influence from public policy. Facing off against State Senator Peter Kane, a formidable opponent determined to create greater division by pushing religion out of the public square, David must navigate the treacherous waters of modern politics, where his faith, optimism, and principles are put to the ultimate test. As he confronts adversaries from his past and faces relentless scrutiny, David's campaign becomes a beacon of hope for many who yearn for spiritual and moral leadership in a divided nation. God's Not Dead, In God We Trust explores the enduring relevance of faith in public life and the fight to keep religious values at the heart of governance. Now let's take a look at the movie trailer. And I will also put a link to the trailer in the description below, just in case I'm forced to remove it from my video because of a copyright claim. After the trailer, I'll be back to explain why I believe that Christians should avoid this movie.
Now more than ever, Christians must realize that we are being called to deliver hope to a country that's feeling hopeless. Faith begins where your comfort zone ends. We need to step out into that faith.
We're 6 weeks out from Election Day, and a lot of folks have lost hope in the future of our country.
We must maintain a wall of separation between church and state. Religion has no place in the public square.
Once they bankrupt our country, they will have complete control.
Where did we go wrong, Lord?
We need someone who can light a fire in the voters.
The preacher. He helped on those education hearings.
I've been hired to manage your campaign for Congress.
I'm not a politician.
If you don't take on this fight, we could lose everything.
They found someone to run against you.
Are we worried about a preacher?
My next guest is a candidate for Congress. You're going to get a lot of questions about your faith.
Well, maybe people are looking for more spiritual and moral leadership in Washington.
You're making God an easy target for them, Pastor.
God's not the target, Lottie. Our country is. God's just standing in their way.
I will not be made a fool of. I won't stop until your moral high ground crumbles beneath your feet.
You don't win unless you play by their rules.
I feel like I have two options. I can either do the things my faith asks me not to, or I lose this race. It's like God keeps putting these impossible mountains in front of me.
Perhaps God put those mountains in front of you to show that they can be moved.
Please pray for David, guys.
In God we trust.
This contest is about shaping the future of our nation.
Keep your boy in line. Because like his God, I can give it and I can take it away.
How do you know it's God?
Reverend Hill, your beliefs are a textbook example of Christian nationalism.
Whenever anyone of faith promotes a policy that you don't like, you label them a Christian nationalist. We need to stand up. Send the message to Washington. Tell them you're not ready to give that power up. You have the power to change things. Not me, not him, you.
In God we trust.
And without God, democracy will not and cannot long endure.
The movie basically presents itself as the modern version of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which some of you may remember from many years ago. However, whereas Mr. Smith Goes to Washington told a heartwarming story of a young and naive newly elected senator who fought government corruption, God's Not Dead, In God We Trust promotes the myth that Christians are to seek power in this world. At the heart of this movie is the message of dominionism in all of its forms, from the Kingdom Now theology to Seven Mountains Mandate to even Christian nationalism. All of these things are anti-Christian. In the coming weeks and months, this movie will be marketed as a righteous call for Christians to get involved in politics, both by voting and by running for office. But here's why Christians should avoid this movie. It is yet another attempt to push ordinary Christians toward supporting dominion theology and specifically Christian nationalism, things that are not taught in the Bible. This movie is not about true Christianity. Thank you for watching, and if you care to leave a comment, please do. As always, kindly be respectful in any comment you leave, especially toward others with whom you may disagree. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon.